All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, September 17th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video for all of my final plays. In terms of yesterday, we go 3-1. I'll take a nice little cha-ching there, as our only play that didn't hit was our plus 120 play, Fernando Tatis Jr. over 1.5 bases, but we hit two first five unders, so Twins, Guardians, that cashes, Pirates, Cardinals, that cashes, and the first five money line for the Royals. They lose the lead right after the fifth inning, but they cash it in the first five. That's why, you know, distinguishing the first five versus full game and that type of thing sometimes can be super, super crucial. Like if this is a first 6 innings run, money line play, it wouldn't have cashed, but we had the first five. Hopefully that makes sense. But we'll take the 3-1 night, like I mentioned. In terms of our ride of the day, we didn't get to jumping on board with one yesterday. Monday Night Football, the baseball research, just had a really, really busy day. So unfortunately, we didn't pick anyone. But good news is it's still up for grabs for today. So make sure to get your favorite plays in the comments using hashtag ride of the day. Whichever comment gets the most likes, I'll be jumping on board with myself. And then you get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. I also shout you out over on my Twitter at FGuyBoston. You'll see it pop up here, I believe, throughout the show at some point. But go ahead and check that out, guys. In the comments, people are dropping ride of the days all the time. And some of them are even better looks than stuff we talk about in the video. So make sure to go and like those ride of the day comments in the comments, as well as submitting your own. But what do you say we jump into this one, guys? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking and rolling. We're looking at the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Giants here. Albert Suarez on the bump for the Orioles, going up against Blake Snell, who has been pitching phenomenally. Last 5 starts here, 1.2 ERA, averaging 3 hits per game. Now, he had been pitching deep into games, but he's had a couple where he pitched 3 innings against Seattle, right? And then pitched 1 inning or 2 against the Diamondbacks. So that's going to bring his average pitching innings down, but he should be giving us, 5 to 6 innings at bare minimum, striking out nearly 7 per game as well. I think in this spot, yes, Baltimore probably has a slightly better offense, and maybe you can even make the argument that they've been playing better baseball, but they have not. They've just been playing against teams that are playing decent, I guess, right? Like they go up against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox score 12-3-5, and it's like, wait a second, what the heck? This is a team in which they'd been slumping, and then they get kind of crushed, right? Didn't look all that good against Detroit, but again, Baltimore has been, I think San Francisco scored 0 runs in 3 of their last 4 games. It's kind of that bad. But Blake Snell is on the mound. I don't think we can necessarily fade him. So I'm going to lean towards San Francisco, but they are in a little bit of a slide. Like I said, they've lost 4 straight games. Baltimore hasn't been much better, but like I already mentioned, you can kind of make the argument maybe they're playing better baseball offensively, but they don't have the better pitcher on the mound. I can't look at this and say that there's enough to get me to the Baltimore side of things unless we're, really accounting for the home team here. I think that Blake Snell can go out there and pitch well. He throws a ton of fastballs, right? Not exactly a team in Baltimore that hits the fastball all that well. 26th last 30 days in terms of runs above average per 100 fastballs seen. So we like to see that. Suarez throws a lot of fastballs as well. San Francisco isn't necessarily the best of teams against the fastball. So I think, though, I'm still leaning towards the Giants. Another play here may be taking a peek at that first 5, under. So right now we can get that. So the total sitting at 7.5 because of, I believe, the Snell effect, right? But under 4.5 in the first 5 or minus 140 on DraftKings. I kind of like that. Again, I like going first 5 a lot because 4.5 is 1 run per inning to hit the over, or less than to hit the under, right? To hit the over for 7.5 for the full game, you can score less than 1 run per inning and still hit the full game over. So a lot of the times I like that number at 4.5 for the first 5. Might be something we roll with in terms of a total here. That way we're kind of backing Blake Snell, but we don't have to account on or rely on or hope for any offense from San Francisco. If they don't score, it's even better because Blake Snell did his job and we're still cashing under. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, next up we have Cleveland taking on Minnesota. Now, I think you can make an argument both ways for who you think is going to win this game. I don't love Zebby Matthews. He's pitching from Minnesota, but Gavin Williams at home also isn't your tried and true stud necessarily. So kind of like I mentioned, a thing that you can make an argument both ways here. I think for that reason, I'll just lean towards the plus money team in Minnesota. They're also looking to bounce back here. But what I'll say is that Cleveland's definitely playing better baseball. They've won 3 straight games. Minnesota's only won 3 in their last 10. So if you want to go with Cleveland, I get it. Gavin Williams probably is the better pitcher overall, but again, He has his flaws here at home. The total sitting at 8.5. I don't mind the over because I think I look at both of these pitchers and say, okay, well, one's not very bad on the road. Zebby Matthews, where's he playing? On the road. Gavin Williams not very good at home. Where's he playing? At home. I'd go in that direction. Now, like I said, I'd slightly into the over. But one play that I think actually becomes maybe my favorite play here in this spot today is going to be Carlos Correa over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. You can get that for plus 105 over on DraftKings right now. He's done it in 8 straight games. He's averaging 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs over that stretch. Same thing for his last 20. He's hit it in 14 of his last 20. Hits it on the road as well. 9 straight road games for him, averaging 3 hits, runs, and RBIs. And what I like is you're going to get from the pitcher here in terms of Gavin Williams, 53% fastball. Okay, well, Carlos Correa's WOBA jumps to a 393 against the fastball. You're going to get 21% curveballs. Okay, well, guess what? Correa, a fantastic curveball hitter. It jumps to a 671 WOBA. And then the slider, really the last pitch you're going to have to worry about, 449 WOBA for Correa. So all 3 of the pitches that he's going to see from Gavin Williams look okay. And Gavin Williams against right-handed batters, his batting average jumps 30 points. His ERA goes up 6.6 points. His WOBA against goes up 35 points as well, so in terms of percent. So I like Carlos Correa today. That's definitely a play that we could be considering in the pinned comment. I like it for plus money, so try and nab it at DraftKings. I don't know if I don't hate it on MGM. It's on MGM right now for minus 105, but that obviously plus 105, minus 105, huge difference. You have a plus money play and 10 cents difference of value. I probably would jump to that one. All right, Cincinnati taking on Atlanta. Brandon Williamson listed as the starter for Cincinnati, going up against Grant Holmes for Atlanta. Grant Holmes only has 4 starts this season. Brandon Williamson's actually looked okay in his 2 starts this season. He has 1 earned run in each of those, but I think point being here that neither one of these pitchers is kind of the best that either team has to offer. I almost want to jump to an over. We are in Great American Ballpark. We know how that goes. Just a friendly ballpark, I guess. Last time these two teams played in this ballpark, they had a series last season. Way different teams. I totally get it, right? But we had a 11-10 game, a 7-6 game, and a 7-6 game. So I could see this being like a 5-9 game at minimum, which would be a push. We hit that floor, and then maybe 1 run comes at some point along the way, and we cash it over. In terms of a money line play, I think you're getting good value for the Braves. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that they necessarily have the better offense, but they've been pretty good against lefties over the last 30 days, and that's what we're going to see today, right? A lot of lefties, a lot of lefty pitches because Brandon Williamson is a lefty. And then he throws 47.1% cutter, which is super important in this case because Atlanta, like I said, not the best offense. They're good against lefties. And one other thing they're fantastic against, and yes, fantastic, the number 1 team in the last 30 days at hitting the cutter. So kind of pitchers aside here, I do think that Atlanta may have a favorable offensive spot, which isn't something that we've been saying much as of late. But for these odds, I think you have the better team with the better bats, definitely the better bullpen. So give me Atlanta here in this spot. I think, minus 115, minus 120 is a definitely fair price for this. And they're looking for a win, right? They've lost 2 straight games. They should be able to do okay here, especially if it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think they're going to get a lot of pitches that they like to see. Now, guys, before we do move on to the rest of the games on this fine Tuesday, it's just that, right? Tuesday, meaning it is Taco Tuesday over on Prize Picks. They have the best deal going on right now, and I'm telling you, it's amazing. Play $5 of an entry and get $50 instantly into your account. That link is going to be in the pinned comment. It's also in the description. You can also just download the Prize Picks app and use code GUYBOSTON when signing up and depositing in to get this deal. How great of a deal is that? You can go and play $5, right? Put a $5 entry in and get $50 instantly. If you hit that $5 entry, you're still getting that cash, right? But even if you miss out on that entry, say you get them all wrong, all the picks, right? Who cares? You just 10 times your moolah in that app. So go check it out, guys. Again, play 5, get 50 instantly over on Prize Picks. And I bring it up today because it is Taco Tuesday. If you don't know what Taco Tuesday is, they discount multiple squares throughout the day, meaning that $5 entry you throw in, if you want to use it on a taco play, you're going to have a better chance of winning and boost that payout. So go ahead and check it out, guys. That link is in the pinned comment. Play 5, get 50 is an absolute worth deal jumping into. Go ahead and check it out. But let's jump back into the rest of these games. All right, Miami taking on the Dodgers. Don't want to spend too much time on this one. We have Darren McCahan. Still don't think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Going up against Bobby Miller. I think I can handle that one. But the Dodgers super juiced, minus 200 favorites in this spot. And it makes sense, obviously. It's not like you have a tremendous pitcher on either side. And if this becomes an offensive game, then sure, the Dodgers probably have the better offense. But that being said, this Miami offense, though some numbers are skewed based on some of the big games that they've had as of late, this offense isn't performing all that poorly. But again, you look at the last 30-day numbers, and it's because they went on that tirade against Philadelphia where they scored nearly 20 runs in 2 games. But still, overall, I don't think that this is a game in which we really want to dive too much into. Dodgers maybe as a parlay throw-in, something like that. And then I don't mind the idea of a Dodgers team total over. Probably going to get bad odds on that today, or bad line in general, just because it is a 9.5 total overall. But that's the direction I would go in. I don't really want to rely on the Marlins offense to do anything towards this 9.5 or anything like that. All right, Tampa Bay taking on Boston. We got Nick Pivetta on the mound going up against Shane Bays for Tampa Bay. In terms of how Pivetta's been against this team this season, he pitched once back in mid-May. He went 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Shane Baz has no starts against this Red Sox team this season, but he's honestly been pitching fairly well, deep into games. 1.6 ERA, averaging 5 strikeouts per game. So not gonna lie, he's looking pretty good, which comes at a great time for what I like in this spot. It's going to be another lean towards the first 5 under. Instead of the bullpens getting them involved and whatnot, I like the first 5 under in this spot. Back to even what I said about that San Fran and Baltimore, 7.5 being a full game total. I like going towards the first 5s for these anyways, just because of that run per inning type of an idea. But this is a decent spot. Red Sox have hit the under in 6 of their last 10 here for the first 5, and then the Tampa Bay Rays 8 of their last 10, including 3 straight there. So I like the spot. You do have the Red Sox who are on the road, which they haven't been necessarily an under team trend-wise against this Tampa Bay team when on the road. Tampa Bay has been kind of 50-50 when at home. But either way, you have two decent pitchers. They've been pitching very well over the last few starts. Pivetta, who looked good against Tampa Bay even the first time around. Baez, who's been pitching pretty well in general. And then 2 offenses that are kind of sluggish, I guess, as of right now. We'll jump into our MLB dashboard, and if you guys do want access to this dashboard, just become a channel member here on YouTube. This is one of the few things that or one of the many, I should say, that's underselling the things that you get as a channel member. We also have a 7-part series on how to build, it's for the NBA, but build a model for yourself to predict games in the NBA, but you can transfer all those skills to the MLB and NFL, and we have more and more coming down the line. But anyways, this is the model that we build. You get the matchup, and then you get each and every game broken out, right? But what I like here is the fact that we're going to see a lot of fastballs. That's what those red chunks are out of these pie slices here. One of the teams hits them very, very well, so I do like the Red Sox on the money line, but the biggest thing is that you're seeing a lot of lacking thereof of offense, right? So if you have 2 good pitchers, 2 decent pitchers against 2 teams that have not been good against righties over the last 30 days, I like that first 5 unders. That's going to be my main play in this one. A couple months ago, if you were taking Red Sox unders, you were a lunatic. It's not all that dumb anymore, right? So give me the Red Sox on the money line. I like Pivetta in the spot, but also that first 5 under I might like more. All right, New York Mets taking on the Washington Nats. Nationals almost pulled it out yesterday. I was thinking, remember, I was like, is this a spot for? I didn't pull the trigger, but plus 182. They lose 2-1. Like I even said, I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game. They might have a chance. We got it wrong by the books, but at least I felt like we had a little bit of a beat for that game, right? We trusted the pitching. Irvin went 7 1/3. I think Manaea went 7. But today could be a different story. I don't think we have the same sort of, studly pitching on the mound right now. We got Tyler McGill, who obviously has been good, but also in his career has struggled at times and things can go bad quick. Going up against Mitchell Parker, who I want to say started the season really, really well, kind of went into well in his standards, went into a little bit of a rut, but had a little bit of a bounce back performance, albeit against Miami in his last start. So both pitchers coming off of very good starts, honestly. In this spot, I don't think that minus 166 is really that great of a price for a Mets team and a Mets offense that I don't necessarily sit here and think is all that great. But then you look at What hand does Mitchell Parker throw with? It's the left. It's like, oh boy, okay, well, maybe they can be a little bit better. They have been good against lefties over the last month or so. So I think that minus 166 a little too pricey here, but after knowing and looking into the Mets lefties numbers, it's hard for me to get to the Nationals here. So I'll lean Mets in this spot, even though I almost yet again wanted to get to the Nats side. But both these pitchers kind of seem like they're on equal playing fields as of right now. Though it's not a great bullpen, you have a better bullpen for the Mets. And again, better batting as of right now, especially against lefties. So I almost unfortunately and reluctantly lean towards the Mets because I wanted to see. This Nationals team's played hard yesterday, right? Wanted to see if we can get there, but just couldn't today. In terms of a total, I don't mind the idea of an under yet again. Now, again, throw in the idea that the Mets are good at hitting lefties. Maybe that keeps you off of it or keeps me off of it, that type of thing. But I could see a 4-3 game. Yesterday was 2-1. It's not like we have two absolutely molly-whopping powerhouses in there, you know what I mean? In fact, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment powerhouse. I like that word. I feel like that's going to give us some good vibes for today. If you made it this far, comment powerhouse. But yeah, I like the under just because I don't think that either one of these offenses is going to go off. But again, Mets against lefties is a little bit better, so might stay away from that. All right, KC taking on Detroit. This is one of our cashes yesterday, that first 5 money line cash. And I think I might go right back to something similar here. We'd probably go run line to get better odds at minus 120 on ESPN for minus 0.5 in the first 5. This is just going to come down to, I guess, in my opinion, like a big pitching discrepancy. Cole Reagans against Casey Mize. Huge advantage for the Royals, in my opinion there. Now, like I mentioned, this game kind of went back and forth yesterday in terms of how it ended. 7-6 win for Detroit, but Kansas City won the first 5. Similar thing, like I don't love this Kansas City bullpen. Detroit, you could say definitely has a better bullpen, right? But Kansas City, I still think has better bats at home, even though their last 30 days numbers just don't look tremendous. They're such a better home team, so I don't love to fade Kansas City at home, especially with Reagans here. I'm gonna lean towards Kansas City in the first 5 run line here. Now, in terms of a total, I don't mind the idea of going under maybe Detroit's team total, that type of thing. Again, I like the Royals, not exactly for the price tag that they're listed at right now. That's why we're going run line for the first 5. But I could see us kind of trying to suppress that Detroit team and not worry about the Royals offense, right? Like a team total under. So maybe that is something of consideration there. Now, player prop I like, and it's going to be fading a guy that did pretty well yesterday. I believe he had 3 hits, I think. But we're going to be looking at Matt Vierling here under 1.5 bases. Fastball, he hits fairly well, but the changeup is the next pitch for Reagans, and he doesn't hit that all that well. He has great numbers. Reagans against Vierling, 9 plate appearances against, 167 average, only 1 hit and 1 total base, with a 167 slugging, no extra base hits. So I like to see that. His Vierling's now against left-handed pitchers, which Reagans being a lefty, his extra base hit percent drops nearly 14 points from 37 to 24, 23.5. And then Reagans, he has a sub 200 batting average against right-handed batters. So definitely love to see that as well. So again, kind of obviously a very good hitter, but kind of looking for a fade spot of Matt Vierling. And what I like here is that, so this is minus 157 on Caesars. I know, super juiced, right? Minus 175 on MGM, minus 180 on Bet365, minus 170 on DraftKings. If you can get this in the minus 150s, I don't care if it's a juiced play. It's still got some expected value there. You know what I mean? Especially for, obviously, I like the other parts of this play as well, not just the price. So definitely something worth considering, but you'd have to get that price. I'm not paying minus 170 for it, you know? Milwaukee taking on Philadelphia. Frankie Montas on the mound going up against Zach Wheeler. When Zach Wheeler's on the mound, I find it hard to get to the other side always. And he has good numbers against this Milwaukee roster, right? So against his Milwaukee roster, 85 plate appearances against, 200 average against, 32% K rate, an expected WOBA against of 285, a true WOBA against of 241. So should be a decent spot here for Zach Wheeler. I'm going to lean towards the Phillies. I don't know if I go first 5 or the money line. Money line right now, and the Phillies do have a decent bullpen, right? But Milwaukee's bullpen's very good, so that's why I'm kind of caught in between going full game or first 5. But I think in this spot, if we were to just kind of isolate all the get rid of all the noise and say, okay, just bet on Zach Wheeler, that probably ends up being first 5, right? So that's most likely the direction I go in. Minus 140, you do end up paying a little bit more for that first 5 because of the fact that it's Zach Wheeler versus Montas, but overall, I don't mind it. My one concern is that the Phillies have not looked all that tremendous. They have only won the first 5 innings in 3 of their last 10 games, and they've missed out on it in 4 straight. So it's kind of like, oh boy, tough there. Now, One thing that I will say is they've tied two of those last, I think it's two of the last 7, which means we'd push in a money line situation. So that's not all that terrible. But overall, like, they haven't been trending fully in that direction. But it's Zach Wheeler, man, and I do trust Zach Wheeler to some degree. I believe they won this one with Zach Wheeler on the mound, and it was against, I want to say, let's see if we can find that really quickly. Let's say it was against Tampa Bay. I might have that wrong, but either way, like, the last time he pitched in the first 5, they won, which is a good sign. Total sitting at 7, it seems super, super low, but I get it, right? Like, even if Frankie Montas goes out there and pitches well, which he's coming off a shutout start against San Francisco, it's like, I get it. You have two teams that, it's not necessarily like they're amazing offensive. At times during the season, they have been amazing, but even yesterday, like, one team showed up. It would have barely hit the over here, so I think I lean under, but man, I'm way more on the Phillies first 5 or even Phillies money line than I am considering a total today, because you have a really good pitcher and a decent pitcher against two offenses that I guess as of late you're not exactly sure what you're getting, so I'd rather not mess with the total and back what we know, which is Zach Wheeler. So that's how I'm thinking about it. All right, Cubs taking on the A's. We don't have a total just yet for this one. I believe I've seen a couple 8 or 8.5s out there, but again, we really don't have a consensus just yet. In terms of yesterday, Cubs win this one 9-2. Joey Estes lasts 1 inning. Jody Managa pitches 6. Today, the pitching is going to be a little bit different, obviously. Jordan Wicks on the mound going up against Mitch Spence. I'm not even sure if you can you probably can, so don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? Don't do anything with my throat in the comments. Pause. But Jordan Wicks here against Mitch Spence, it's like, I don't think you can definitely make an argument of who is the true better pitcher. You can definitely make an argument. I'm just thinking about what I said. What the hell was that? What a weirdo. But you can definitely make an argument here that the Cubs are the better offense. Today, you're getting them at minus 166. I don't necessarily mind it. I don't think I'm going to jump to it because it almost seems like a trap in a sense. Like that number, though it is, a high juice number, it's like, for Cubs versus Athletics, still seems like it's something that they're asking you to bet, the Cubs, right? So I'd probably stick away from this one. If the total is around 8 or anything like that, maybe I'd take a peek at the over. But again, I don't know necessarily what we're going to get from Oakland. Like, they've scored decent amount of runs a few games recently, and then they'll score 2 runs like they did yesterday. And it's like the Cubs at least are putting up numbers, so maybe I lean Cubs team total over, but seems like a trappy game. It smells like a trap, so I don't think that I'm going to be racing to the window to try and get some action on this one. It just seems fishy to me. St. Louis taking on Pittsburgh. Yesterday we liked to play because we had Skeens on the mound, right? Today we got Lance Lynn going up against Bailey Falter, 2 pitchers that I'm not necessarily thrilled to have to consider betting on. But what I will say is Lance Lynn's been okay at home, so maybe we give him a little bit of credit there. And that might be the only thing that I'm really liking Lance Lynn, which is crazy because I've kind of been like a Lance Lynn, I don't want to say hater, but a Lance Lynn not nice guy, maybe a Lance Lynn bully over the last couple of years, but he's been really, really good. Like, if you exclude his game against it was like 4 starts against Washington, he got shelled, right? After that, he's pitched 5+ innings in his last 4 starts and allowed 2 earned runs, 0 earned runs, 1 earned run, and 1 earned run, and then struck out 6, 2, 3, 7. Like, he's been kind of all over the place strikeout-wise, but pitching fairly well. So, especially if we jump into the dashboard here, you can see the only real green that jumps out to us, and I color code this for this exact reason, is right here. Lance Lynn at home has looked okay. So it's like, maybe we send it with the Cardinals. At the end of the day, we're still betting on Lance Lynn and the Cardinals. I don't know if I necessarily love that position, but they even win the game yesterday, right? 4-0. Skeens goes 6 innings. They scored most of their runs. 1 run in the 4th, and then they scored 7 in the 8th. Is that right? They scored 1 in the 7th and then maybe 2 in the 8th one. I don't know. Late in the game, right? So after Skeens came out. So we know that they can get to this bullpen of Pittsburgh. And St. Louis's bullpen's pretty good. So maybe this is a St. Louis look just because of those factors. We actually might have a starting pitching advantage. And then we definitely have a bullpen advantage. And then offensively, it's like, yeah, I guess you could say they have an advantage, but it's still not a good offense versus good offense. So I'll lean in that direction. Maybe a consideration for the under as well. But based on that Pittsburgh bullpen and Lance Lynn maybe being good at home, I do think the money line could be the main play here. All right, real quick, before we get to the rest of these games, we got 5 games left, so we're dropping a discount code for you guys for today over on our merch store. All you have to do is comment 5, just spell it out like that. You're going to get 20% off the entire store. Just, again, the code is 5, not in the search bar, but I just wanted to show you guys how to type it out. We got tons of new product like the Football Sunday Adidas hoodie. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but this is a true Adidas hoodie. It's super, super comfortable with a nice football graphic there. But we got tons of stuff over on the site, guys. I'm wearing the Gambler hat right now. This is one of our best sellers out there. The Fade Me football tee is out as well. Good day for a parlay. We got tons of cool stuff. Gambler Collection 2.0. If you do want to support what we're doing here and pick up some great merch at the same time, consider heading over to fademe.store. I'll put that link in the pinned comment. Again, use code 5, F-I-V-E. Yes, I could spell that one. And you're going to get 20% off today. This is good quality. I tell you guys that all the time. When we made the merch here on the channel, I didn't want to go and just throw a logo on something and try and make a lot of money. Truth be told, we don't make too much with the merch because of how much we put into the product itself, and we charge it for a good price. So it's really more of a support thing if you guys do want to go check it out. And now you're going to get a discount today, 5, F-I-V-E, for 20% off. So go ahead and check it out, guys. I really do believe in this product. The Gambler Collection, the Fade Me store entirely, it's one of the things that I'm most proud of. So go ahead and check it out. That link is in the pinned comment. But let's talk some more baseball here. We get Texas taking on Toronto in this spot. On the mound for Texas, looks like it's going to be Nathan Eovaldi going up against Chris Bassett here for Toronto. You guys should know where I stand in terms of who I think is the better pitcher. That's Eovaldi, even though he's been a little shocky or rocky as of late. I still do believe in him. I believe Chris Bassett is still questionable. I feel like I'm talking NBA, but I don't know if he's definitely the pitcher here. But for the sake of arguments here, we're going to act like he is. He's 10-13 this year with a 4.2 ERA. This is probably a Texas spot for me, kind of just backing Eovaldi, though. So it's not necessarily me all over the Texas lineup or anything like that. In fact, this Toronto lineup is very, very good. Last 30 days, jumping into our dashboard, you can see last 30 days, they've been very, very good. But Eovaldi at home, he struggled on the road, but at home, he's been just as good. So hopefully he can counter that. I like backing him when he's at home. The total sitting at 7.5 also helps me out because that tells me that the books are valuing Eovaldi more than, this amazing Toronto offense as of late, So kind of reading in between the lines or reading the lines there helps me justify that Texas play. So again, we don't have confirmation if it's Bassett or not, but it's Eovaldi, I'm pretty sure, and I like that spot. The total sitting at 7.5. Maybe this is the first 5 under as well because, if the Rangers win this game, it's probably because they suppressed that Blue Jays offense overall. Colorado taking on Arizona, and man, oh man. I do not think anyone saw this game going this way last night. 3-2 win for Colorado. Now, all you can expect is that the Diamondbacks bounce back. Listen, they're in Colorado. They've been scoring 12, 6, 4, 8, 11 runs. They get to Colorado with the altitude and scored 2. That's tough. That is tough. I saw a lot of people, and I was this close to pulling the trigger on Diamondbacks, but even like I said in yesterday's video, even in Colorado, we'd have to, hope for 6 runs from them for their team total. Seemed like a little bit too much. I don't mind them bouncing back in a money line spot here. Now, I don't like betting on Jordan Montgomery. He's pitching for Arizona, but Ryan Feltner on the mound for Colorado, he's not all that tremendous, and I think that the Diamondbacks should be able to get to him. So that's sort of the justification. If we want to get really specific here and try and make a good argument for Jordan Montgomery, which I don't think is always the case, easy to be made, right? But 36 plate appearances against, he has an average against this current Colorado's Rocky roster of 219 and a WOBA of 270, expected WOBA of 287. So yes, you can make the argument that he's looked okay against at least these guys, a 33.3% K rate. But again, it's still Jordan Montgomery. This is a guy that on the road this year has a 15% K rate. So you're telling me he's going to more than double that against this team? I don't know if I buy that one. But Feltner also not all that tremendous. So again, I lean Arizona here. In terms of the total, I think I'm going to look at the over because, again, I think Arizona bounces back today. I just hope that, if we were to take their team total or something like that, I don't want it to be 5.5. Like, I like the 4.5 at most, and we don't get that in Colorado. So I hope that, if they do bounce back, but maybe score a bunch of runs, because I know a lot of people were on their 6, over 5.5, over 6.5 yesterday, and they just couldn't come through with it. So yeah, I like Arizona and the over. Hopefully Jordan Montgomery can keep Arizona in this one because he's also pitching in Colorado. Let's not forget that one. Guys, the Chicago White Sox have won 3 straight games here, and what's crazy is that's like 30% of their wins, or 10% of their wins, something like that, right? Yeah, 10%. That sounds a lot better. I think they have like 35. But the Angels on a little bit of a losing streak now. Chicago's on a win streak. I don't think we have enough nuts in the pudding. That's not a saying and sounds absolutely gross, but I just can't get behind the Angels of minus 170 again, right? Like, it's crazy. But now are the White Sox going to win 4 in a row, that's even crazier. So what are we doing with this? This is crazy. I think it's best to stay away. You don't need to get burned by anything. Some people might be jumping on the White Sox train, and I get it. You'd be making bank if you just jumped on the White Sox in the last couple days. Listen to this. Plus 152, plus 147, plus 175 win yesterday. Yeah, you're crushing it there. They have 4 wins in the last 10, and they're still, if you're $100 better, you'd be up nearly $130. So it's kind of nuts. Again, Angels just not the team to be laying this juice, even though they're going up against the White Sox. I don't care. I'm probably sticking away from it. The total's at 8 runs. I don't mind the under. 8-4 yesterday, right? The Angels have been pretty consistent offensively. Last 5 games, 4-3-3, 4-4. The White Sox, I don't think that they're going to go up there. They've scored 19 runs in their last 3 games. I don't know if this is a fact, but I doubt that they've scored 19 runs in 3 games total, in sequence this season. So I like the under here. About the pitching, we get to that. Davis Martin, who's actually been pretty good on the road this year, going up against Griffin Canning. But when we look at the dashboard, what I focus on, this scares me about taking an under. Right? Excuse me. So does Chicago's bullpen. But what I will say is this does not. Everything we're looking at here is a lot of red. So for that reason, I like the under, but I don't think I'm running to try and force. I'm not like cutting the line to try and get this game in. You know what I mean? We have a lot of value and a lot of likes that we like on the board today. I don't think that the Angels and the White Sox is high on the list. All right, Seattle taking on the Yanks. This should be pretty good. We have the Yankees who are on a little bit of a streak here. 7 of their last 10 they've won. They've won 4 of their last 5. Seattle also doing the same thing. 7 of their last 10. They've won 3 straight games here. Brian Wu on the mound going up against Luis Gil. This is a spot in which I do like the idea of maybe a low-scoring game, but look at that. Even with the Yankees in town, they've knocked that total all the way down. It does kind of make sense, though. Like, listen to these numbers. Brian Wu, 30 plate appearances against the current Yankees roster. It's not that much. I know, small sample size. Both of these stats are small sample size, but still the truth, right? Brian Wu, 30 plate appearances against his current Yankees roster, an average against of 143. 143. You're probably like, what the hell? That's super low. Let's flip over to Luis Gil. 35 plate appearances against this current Seattle Mariners roster, a 94 batting average. Yes, if I were to visualize that for you, 0.094. So you have 2 pitchers that probably fare pretty well against these offenses, albeit small sample sizes, but facts are facts. That's what we're seeing, right? So I don't necessarily think that total at 7 is super low or anything like that. Like, this Yankees offense hasn't been on absolute fire, right? But I do think home team here for plus money. Now it's slightly plus money, plus 104 on FanDuel right now. I think that's going to be the move. I'm going to trust Brian Wu over Luis Gil, because if the Yankees are suppressed offensively to some degree, right, I think it takes away their superpower per se, if that makes sense. Now, I'll be honest, I can totally get the argument for the Yankees. Like, I'm not trying to say that this is an easy pick of mine towards Seattle, but I like the idea of maybe the Seattle bullpen and Brian Wu being at home, pitching fairly well. You're going to get a lot of fastballs out of Luis Gil. It happens to be the pitch that Seattle hits very well. You're going to get a lot of fastballs out of Brian Wu. Yankees do hit that well as well, so I'm really trusting that Wu is on top of his game, and we can watch this game and go, woo, woo. That was sad. But yeah, I like them. In terms of the total, I don't really want to touch that 7 because the Yankees are still involved here. But I'll reluctantly lean towards the under. Like, I think this could be a really good pitching duel. And I think a lot of Jim Oaks out there are going to be like, oh my God, the Yankees are playing and it's a total of 7. If that was the case, like, the books would be moving this one, right? I think it's 80-something% of the bets are on the over. So the fact that they haven't moved yet, I don't necessarily mind it. So yeah, give me the under as well as Seattle, but I'll tell you, the thing that could keep me off of this is the fact that I can make arguments on the other side, and that's what I usually like to do. Like, I'll make my thoughts in my brain, right, or in my notes too, and then see if I can counter them, and if I can fairly well, it doesn't become one of my favorite plays. It's kind of a process. All right, San Diego taking on Houston, 3-1 win for them yesterday here. Both pitchers looked okay. Today we have Michael King on the mound going up against Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown, as of late, I guess we have to exclude his last start. It was against Oakland, 5 innings pitched, 1 home run, 9 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, but 5 earned runs over that. So what do you have, like an ERA of 9 in that game? So it is tough to see the fact that, he had been struggling, I guess. But overall, he had been pitching so well beforehand. 1-1-0-0 were his earned run numbers for the previous 4 games. Him against this San Diego roster, we don't have too much against, just 27 plate appearances, but he's looked okay. Kind of the same thing for Michael King going up against Houston here. What I'll say is, given the fact that this is plus money on the Houston side of things, I think these two teams are very, very close, both when you look at it from a pitching perspective, an offensive perspective, and a bullpen perspective. So because we have a plus sign next to that Houston number, that is going to be the direction I lean in. But, again, and I'm not playing on the fence. Like, I'm telling you, I like Houston for the plus money, right? But I will say there is definitely an argument to be made for San Diego. So I only say that not to seem like I'm on both sides. Like, I'm telling you, I'm very much on the Houston side of things, just like the Seattle last pick and all that. But when I say I can see the lane to the other team, that's just to let you know that, like, if you're on San Diego and you hear me say Houston, I don't think it's ludicrous to be on San Diego today. So don't go switching up your whole process and mindset because I say Houston. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I say that. I know a lot of people in the comments be like, why are you giving both sides? Like, you're not staking your claim. It's like, I'm talking about every single game. You think I'm going to feel 110% confident in every single one of these 15 games? No, sirree. But yeah, give me Houston in this spot. In terms of the total, I like both pitchers, but now I see that total being a little bit too low. Like, think about this. We're looking at Brian Wu and, Luis Heel in the first game, and that total's down there at 7. We have two pitchers that are, yes, also maybe they're on that level, right, of Wu and them, but I don't think as good. And you're not in Seattle, you're in San Diego, so slight lean to the over here. But I feel like we can get it at like 7.5 for plus money. I almost like it more, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, give me plus money to score 8 runs, and I might be a little bit more all over it. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we rolled that. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. If you made it this far in the video, just let me know in the comments. I know the real ones stick around for the whole video, but have you been enjoying the content? We have H to H. Me and Tassos do that show every week. We have all the football shows coming out. Like, we are working, burning the candle at both ends. Not to a burnout level, but like, I think people think we come on here, especially me, all the videos I do, just come on here and record, and it's like, la-di-da, it's easy. No, we're doing a lot of research, a lot of editing, a lot of producing, like, a lot of cool stuff goes into these videos. And I say cool because you guys have changed my life forever, right? I'm not going to stop working this hard. I'm in a perfect position in terms of where I want to be right now, and that's because of you guys. I'm a dummy with a camera and a mic, and just get to wake up and talk about sports every day. So I want to know if you guys are liking the content. What do you like here and there? Could we add something? That type of thing. So let me know in the comments if you made it this far in the video. It would genuinely mean a lot to me to hear what your feedback is on how much content we're pushing out, because I think we're crushing it. I think we're doing a great job, but can we be doing more? Are you seeing something that other people are doing that maybe you want our insight on, that type of thing? So yeah, let me know. But that's all I have for you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.